Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. All right. So it's Saturday. We are back in the building. Yeah. I know everybody is feeling wonderful today, right? It's a Saturday. It was a rainy day, but a beautiful day, you know, nice and warm. NYC style for January. January 25th is like 80 degrees out there. You gotta love it. Well, not 80, but for what it's supposed to be, 55 degrees. Wow, wow. So okay, we got Sandra in the building.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. So Sandra is feeling like $1 million.
Right.
All right. And we have Big Rob in the building. Yeah, silent as usual, but that definitely responsive. That's why we able to see what's going on the camera, right? And we have his lovely wife in the building. Yeah. And also we have Anthony in the building. Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna pull him on in a few minutes. Um and we're gonna get this thing going.
Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Heather. 85 in Miami. Happy Saturday, Heather.
85 degrees. Wow. Hey Jimmy, we was feeling like that today too. I ain't gonna front. I'm telling you, it wasn't 85. Most like 55. But for today, January 25th, you know what time it is. It's feeling great. We gotta love that. Little rain, but overall beautiful weather. Beautiful, beautiful weather. So you know what it is. This show is to talk about the acting skills. I got a chance to act a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And I spoke to my man Anthony, and he gave me some pointers. And at the end of the day, Anthony is the man when it comes down to the acting. You know what I'm saying? He is the man. What do you think about that, Sandra?
Oh, he's the man.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely,
I didn't
absolutely.
know that's where you got your skills from, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had to talk to the, higher ups, and
Okay.
he gave me some pointers, and I finessed it.
All right. Did a good job. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, I thank you, Anthony. You the man. So, one thing that I realized is that majority of the youngsters, um, they're not. Some of them do want to be actors, but not as much that want to be like rappers and entertainers and all of that. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a sign of the times. That's what's out there. And you got to remember, too, a lot of the artists, they cross over, they cross back, they cross over again. So, I think that they feel like if they can get on and, becoming an artist, then they might be able to just venture out everywhere else. So I think it's there.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm thinking though, right? I'm thinking that one of the big reasons is, actors are very, very humble. They're humble. Artists, they're very flashy. You know what I'm saying? Very flamboyant, and they show a lot of glitter, even when it's not even there. You know what I mean? So with the actors, I don't think they have nothing really to prove except for their acting skills. But like, let's say an artist, even if they have skills, they got to show off like that. Flat. They got to be flashy in order to really make it. You know what I'm saying? So I think the kids look at that and be like, I think that's what really grabbed them. You know what I mean?
I agree.
That's my thoughts on it. All right. It's so one of the things why I really I respect majority of the actors. which I respect the artists too, because they got to do what they got to do. Is that they're very humble. They don't really floss anything. They're just, very humble in how they carry themselves and their demeanor and everything like that. I like that. Definitely like that.
Jimmy says that it's harder to get into business. I think maybe he's talking about getting into acting.
Yeah.
It might be a little easier to
Okay.
venture out over into becoming an artist, a singer, or a rapper, or something to that effect.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's a possibility. That's a possibility. I feel like if they were like if they show off as much as the actors, or if they were as flossy as the actors, I mean as the rappers or the singers, then a lot of the kids would want to gravitate to that, because they figure that's what they see. That becomes their role model. Oh man, he's making a lot of money, so he's this or he's that. I mean, there's a rapper. His name is the Baby, right? He's like real popular right now. He's like tearing up the charts. Now, you look at the Baby, and let's say you look at Will Smith, right? Will Smith, big actor, and majority of youngsters is gonna say, "Oh, Baby is more well off than Will Smith," or "Oh man, Baby, I like him because he's the man, he's rich." When it's not, if you're comparing the two, there's no comparison.
That is true.
But it's what they see and how they see it, and they glorify, you know, how they flashy and all that. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think we have majority of these youngsters wanting to be an actor. You know, we actually gonna get and talk to Anthony to really see what it takes to be an actor. I mean, I'm a partial actor, I guess. I did the easiest thing, play
Here
myself.
we go. Here we go.
It was kind of cool. I thought it was easy because I was playing myself. My role was to play myself, so it was kind of easy. We gonna we gonna talk to Anthony on how easy it is to act. He's done many things. He's done TV series, right?
Correct.
Right. Blockbuster movies,
Absolutely.
right? Plays. And the plays, and it's kind of like three different like scenery, or three different space in acting, because you got theater,
Mm-hmm.
you have series, television series, right, and then you have film, movies. Three different animals. And one of the big things with him, what I really respect, is that he's well versed in all three.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna get to learn a lot today. And we're gonna see what it does. And very humble guy. I mean, I've known him for quite some years. You see, he's very humble. You know. He's kind of tight with Will Smith and all that. He did a movie with Will Smith. Will Smith is kind of cool. We're gonna talk about that. And his dividends is just right next to Will Smith too,
Hey.
if not higher. That's my man. That's my man. So we're gonna get him on. One thing right before we get him on, we're gonna run Pretty Black's track. So we're really not gonna waste no time because we got a lot to talk to him about, and we're gonna get it going. All right, so Rob, you think we could hit the track, and we'll be right back. Yeah, so we are back. We have Mr. Anthony Gallo. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm
Uh,
doing good. Glad to be here.
uh, hey, I'm gonna tell you, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Really
Of
appreciate
course.
that.
Anything.
Yeah. So, Anthony, we're gonna start it off like I was just talking about you with Will Smith.
Yeah?
Did a movie with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Men in Black 3.
Okay. How was that?
That was great. Great
Yeah.
meeting Will. He's a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Really fantastic guy. A real, in my opinion, a real star.
Oh yeah.
Both not only as a star and as an artist and his ability, but also as a real genuine person.
Oh nice. Nice.
Real genuine person. Sometimes they're not. The real big stars aren't always as genuine as you might think, but Will Smith was definitely a genuine person.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I noticed that you even did some things with well, let's put it like this. Where did you have the most fun? Like what
Um, well, I was in a sitcom called Are We There Yet, which was a derivative from a movie that Ice Cube made, and then became a sitcom about an African American family, and Terry Crews was one of the Terry Crews, Essence Atkins, and two young kids who I don't remember their names. And
Okay.
I did 2 episodes of that, and we had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Is Terry Crews, is he a funny guy or is
Yeah, he's a
not
he's a
really-
real funny guy.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's a real funny guy. I mean, he's very impressive looking. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Terry's a big boy. He
Yeah,
played.
yeah.
He's a professional football player, and but he's also a cream puff in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, because sitcoms like that, or even soap operas, they're shot in studios where you're not really outside. It's not like a film set,
Right.
or a sound stage. So what they have is, it's a huge building, and it'll have a living room setup, a garage setup, a kitchen setup, and you're just moving from one set to another set to another set, all within the same building.
It's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Kind of cool.
We were doing in near the end of the first episode that I was in. My character, I play the ring guy. All right, and what had happened is Terry had bought his wife, what we would call a Fugazi diamond.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So now his mother-in-law, who he doesn't get along with that well, decides she's going to have what they call a gold party, where people come and buy and sell gold.
Okay.
So now he's all excited about the fact that his mother-in-law is going to find out that he gave his wife a Fugazi diamond. So he tells his friend, he says, "You got to get me that ring guy. I got to talk to him. I got to talk to him."
Yeah.
So the ring guy steps into the scene.
Yeah.
Right, and we sneak into his garage. He says, "My wife can't find out." And we sneak into the garage, and he's like, "You sold me a fake ring." I'm like, "No, it's not fake. It's a faux." And then the friend chimes in, "Yeah, it's a faux, not a fake. It's a faux." And he's like, "I don't care. Here's the ring. I want a real ring."
Yeah.
So go to the next scene, and now the wife, she can't find her ring. And she's all upset. She doesn't know if it's gone down the shower, in the sink, did it slip off her finger. So she's also talking to her friend, and she's like, what am I going to do? So they hire a plumber. They look, and, the guy takes the pipe apart. There's no ring in there. So she's at the office, and she's talking to her friend in the office where she works. And the friend says, I know this guy, this ring guy. He's got all these rings. So back I come on into the scene, and I got the exact same ring. So she shows me a picture. She says, "I need something like this." I got a case full of rings. I open it up. I'm looking around. I pull it out. She goes, "That's it." Boom. And it was real. We had a lot. It was a real fun day.
All right. So the ring guy was playing on both sides.
Right. Exactly.
Nice. So. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, we were mentioning before that actors are real humble, very, very humble.
Some are.
Yeah.
Some are.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on the level.
Okay. Now, like, I was doing the research.
Okay.
Right. So I punched in your name, and it was like net worth is like $954 billion.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, hey, and when I said to myself, once you get in here, I got to talk to you. $954 billion. That's I'd like for you to.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I'd like to know the name of that particular website that you looked at.
I think it was Forbes.
Forbes?
Forbes.com or something. Something in
Sounds
regards
more
to
like
that.
crackpipe.com.
Yeah, what do you say? Not too accurate.
A little off.
Yeah.
Just a little bit off.
But I was told that actors they do pretty good. And it's like a lot of residuals that come from.
Well, there are residuals. Yes, there are. You get paid for every time a show re-airs, depending on the contract, the original. That's why it's important to be part of the union, because they protect you. They protect you. They guarantee what you're supposed to get, and they handle all your residuals too.
Okay. So with the union, I don't know too much about the union.
Well, the union is, there used to be two unions. When I first started, there was two separate unions for actors. One was the Screen Actors Guild, which we actually give out awards. I think the Screen Actors Guild show was like last Sunday night, I think. And we pick out movies and films, and we give them awards. And they pretty much mirror the academies in terms of the films. And the older union was called AFTRA, which was the American Federation of TV and Radio Announcers. It was really an association for the original radio broadcasters way before TV got popular, when radio was real big. And through the years, they started competing, and then about 4 or 5 years ago, they merged. So now it's all one. And, if you have a problem on set, if you're not getting paid, they jump in. They make sure that you're getting the rate you're supposed to get. If someone asks you to do stuff that you feel that's dangerous in terms of stunt work or additional stuff, or if you work over a X amount of hours, and then they handle all your residuals, which is production contracts, specifically with episodic TV and film, whereby whenever it's reshown, you get a percentage of your original rate on a declining scale.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
So you act one time, and you get paid numerous.
You get, for a number of years, you'll get some money. I mean, some of them, I don't want you to, some of it, I've gotten checks for 71 cents. So, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So it's it's something though.
Okay,
not
so
that
it's
71
just
cents or something.
Okay.
It's a sliding scale until it's never seen again. And the episodics, which, to explain to your audience, an episodic is something that is an episode. Okay. So it could be like a Law and Order is an episodic. In season, there's an episode every week. Okay? Right. And, and you have, all the different episodics, on the major networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Then you have the cable networks, which they have now started to make their own shows.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the premium cable, which is the HBOs, the Showtimes. They have their episodics.
Right.
And now, with Netflix and Prime and Amazon and Hulu, they're getting into it, but more on the streaming end. Streaming, what HBO did to TV and Hollywood, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon are now starting to do to HBO, Showtime. But it does. What's good about it, as far as from an actor's perspective, is that there's a lot of work out there.
Good.
So there's an opportunity for everybody to get lucky to get cast in a show or in a TV series or in a series.
That's cool.
And you have YouTube also.
Yeah.
Which is now becoming
streaming. Yeah.
a streaming platform, and novice writers and other people that could not be, let's say, get in the door to a huge network can, through their own hard work, put together a program that they can now show,
put it together,
as we are here today.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
What do you think, Sandra? You like that?
I like it.
I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying what's up.
Yeah.
Nikki's on the stream.
Okay.
Hi, Nick. Nikki.
Yeah. So she's pretty much seeing everybody that's, watching and online. And
okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
These are the comments. How would you, what kind of advice would you give, a young actor, somebody who thinks that they have skills and want to get on? They want to get on to the, to the next level. What kind of advice would you have for them?
Well, the advice that I would give is you got to have patience, because it's a long process. And that doesn't mean it can't, it can't happen for you overnight. But it's the way I look at acting, and I got into it late in life. So I'll give you a little bit of history about myself.
Okay.
So for many years I was in business, and I was working and owned my own trucks and did whatever I did. And then I got this bug in my head one night. I was out with a friend, and she was a very good friend of mine. And we were out at dinner in the city, and at the time she was an editor of the New Yorker magazine. And she had done some acting when she was a younger woman on soap operas. And we were talking. She mentioned to me, she was like, "You ever think about acting?" And I was like, "Oh, Trisha, come on. I mean, think about it." But She goes, I really think you could do something with it, And it kind of like sparked something in my mind. And I said, she goes, let me help you out a little bit. What she meant by help me out is, let me help you out get a headshot and, maybe look into some classes. So we did a little bit, and I said, oh, this is for me. I want to go forward with this before, it gets too late in my life. Like I said, I've only been doing this about 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And from that time on, I divested myself of all my other responsibilities, to devote myself completely to this. And devotion, and the point of what I'm trying to tell you is that what I would say to you, you got to have devotion. You got to be willing to make sacrifice. It's a very, I've made a lot of sacrifices, and I've been lucky. I've been,
Right.
I've been on some name shows, and I've been on some name movies, and I just was on The Irishman with some icons in my own life of Marty Scorsese directing, and Robert De Niro, and Albert Pacino, and these are guys that
These are big deals, right there.
Big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was gonna get to that because I wanted for you to talk about
Okay.
acting with these guys, interacting with them, and everything like that. Like,
It's something. And even when I did Men in Black 3, which was the first time that I was on a set with, I was on with both Will Smith and Josh Brolin.
okay,
Okay, and Josh at the time was Men in Black 3 is in the third series. They go back to when Agent K is a young boy.
right,
So they brought in Josh Brolin, who's got a lot of similarities to Tommy Lee Jones,
okay,
but he was the younger guy.
right,
So I'm interacting with them, and I had a small scene in a bowling alley. I had 6 arms coming out, which they put on with CGI, and
right.
I was the 6-armed alien, and then my partner was the guy. They tore his head off, and they used it as a bowling ball. And,
Right, yeah, I remember that scene. Yeah.
So you meet these guys, and you've seen them on TV, and you've seen them on the screen. You've seen them doing interviews, and they're doing dramatic type stuff, comedic type stuff, and you like a little bit. But you find out when you're working, we're all the same.
Right, yeah.
You got to be professional. You got to show up, know your lines, know what you got to be doing. And it's like a big family. It really is.
So they just embrace all the actors. All the actors embrace each other, and
I would say, yeah.
like family.
I would say for the ones I've met,
Yeah.
of the the names that I could say, like that any of your audience and yourself would recognize, I've always had a good relationship with them. And a lot of that, probably comes from the way I, how I compose myself when I'm on set.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you like my first day with De Niro, I'm looking at this guy and I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, you know what? I remember this guy from Raging Bull, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
Mean Streets, and he just, how you doing? Good. All right, you ready to do this? Yeah. Boom. Yeah, I mean, really, boom.
Now,
if you got to be professional,
Right.
and it takes time, and so to your audience, what I'm saying is, commitment, patience, devotion to the craft.
okay, I was gonna get into that too. A lot of times, I see some bad actors, and I want to know: do you like when you're watching a movie? Are you like looking at it from a different perspective? Are you like looking for, oh man, he messed up, or are you just looking? Because when I look at a movie, I'm just looking at it, looking at the content. Sometimes,
Well, yeah, because you're looking at the storyline,
Right, yeah.
and that's the way I've always been a film buff. I've always loved films.
Okay.
I'm not saying I love every film, but there is a genre that I look for, and I've always older films, newer films, 30s films, 40s films, whatever. And it's until you get in the business, until you've actually been there, you don't realize what goes into every particular scene. The amount of
Okay.
work that goes into it, not only from the actor's point of view, but from the recording point of view, from the editor's point of view, from the director's point of view. So now when I look at these films, these same films that, 15, 20 years ago, I was just looking at them from the storyline. I'm looking at them completely different because I'm looking at them from the point of view of, I know now what's going on the other side of the camera.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You
So
know?
do you appreciate it more, or is it that
Oh, I definitely appreciate it more.
you do?
I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
appreciate it. And from an actor's standpoint, I'm not only just appreciating it. A lot of times, and one of my instructors brought up, look at films that you like, study the actors, and think about whether you could be in that role. Would you be able to create that role? Maybe not exactly, because every actor brings a certain of himself to a particular role.
Right. Right.
It's not, they're all, it's how the measure of a great actor is if he can change your mind and make you think that that character that he's portraying is now the one you will always associate with that name, his face.
Right.
That's when you know that,
Great actor.
especially when they do, some sort of a real life interpretation, right? I mean, I knew, I had met the real Jake LaMotta, okay, but in my mind, the Raging Bull will always be Robert De Niro playing Jake LaMotta.
Right. Right. Totally understood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like, I'll tell you another great movie that came out a few years ago, and another great actor that, doesn't get, as much renown as I believe he should. He's an Irish guy, Daniel Day-Lewis. Right. He's done, Last of the Mohegans. He's done The Boxer. When he did Lincoln a few years ago, to me, he was like over the phenomenal. And then, and through the years, there's been different people who have played Lincoln, even older actors, from the 30s, from the 40s. But Daniel Day-Lewis's portrayal of Lincoln in the movie, I think it came out about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Won a few awards. Was out. He was just great.
Yeah. So you actually study, like you're watching a movie, you study that actor, you see if you could actually do that role.
Exactly.
And do you actually, like, just for fun, just see if you could act it out, or you just think about it?
Well, you think about it, and thinking about it, in the process of thinking about it, you're thinking about, the lines. You're thinking about, could I do that? Could I be as convincing as that particular actor in that same character in that same scene? Yeah.
And so you do act it out sometimes.
Well,
just,
in a mental way.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
In a mental way.
Because I feel like I did a little acting.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
So,
I thought
know
you were
went
very
to-
good.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
thank
did.
you, thank
I
you.
did.
And
I
I'm gonna
did.
tell you thanks for you. You gave me some.
You gave me some pointers.
Yeah, and I
You asked me a few
appreciate that.
questions.
Yeah. That was actually awesome. Now, I want to ask you, what's like one of the hardest thing that you find about your career right now? Like, what's the hardest thing that you say, oh man, anytime this happened, it just like kind of sinks me. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you exactly what it is for any up-and-coming actor.
Yeah.
Rejection.
Oh, rejection.
Yeah, rejection is you have to know how to handle rejection. Rejection is a big part of this business, and you have to learn how to let it just take it in and just let it slide off of you, because if you don't, it will cripple you. It will handicap you. You can go into an audition, you can get called into an audition, and you can do the best you can, and you not get the role, and wonder why. And there's so many other reasons why. You can. There's three things. I've met a lot of young actors, okay, on different things that I've done. All right. Not everything I do is famous. Like let's say like Men in Black or Law and Order or Boardwalk Empire or I've done a lot of other stuff that hits the independent market, makes the rounds of the film festivals, and you're never going to see them. The audience is never going to see them, because they don't pick up a distributorship, a distributor, or it doesn't make it to the theaters, or Anyway, so I meet a lot of young actors have done a lot of stuff where, school films for film school films like NYU, Columbia Masters Program, and you meet a lot of young actors, from the Midwest that moved to New York, from the Southeast that moved to New York, from Texas that moved to New York. You know what I mean? Or they moved to L.A. Those are the two hubs, New York
and L.A.
Okay. Those are the two hubs. Even the Chicago. Now Chicago's doing a lot. They still audition here. They do stuff in Louisiana. They audition here. They do stuff in Atlanta. They audition here. So they say, what do you do? I said, well, there's only three things, in my opinion, that you, as a young as any actor, trying to come up, including myself, okay, that you have control over. One, show up on time. Okay, I know it doesn't sound like show up on time.
Yeah.
Two, when you're in the, you're waiting outside of a casting office, go over your lines in your head. You know what I mean? And keep your mouth shut. It's not a social thing. Sometimes you'll walk into, they all have waiting rooms. You're sitting out there with 10 other people. You know what I mean? Just know your lines. Okay? And make a choice. Now, the choice in the acting world is create a character in your mind that this character is going to be. That's your choice. And we use a phrase, be true to your choice. You've made the choice. You've been sent, your lines, your sides, we call them. So your agent or someone, whoever's giving you this audition, has called you and asked you if you're available, you want to come in. Yes. He emails you the sides, and you have it tells you what character. So you might have 5 lines, you might have 10 lines, you might have 15 lines, okay? You don't know what's happening before. You don't know what's happening after.
Right.
Okay? Concentrate on those lines. Make a choice, meaning what you think that character should be, and be true to it. And go in and give your audition. If they want to change it, they will give you what we call an adjustment. How you handle the adjustment could make the difference between you getting the role or not getting the role. So now you're taped, like we're being taped here, right?
Right.
They take the tape, the casting director or the associate takes the tape, and out of, let's say, 10 or 15 people that they've auditioned for this particular role, depending on the age, what they want you to look like, like I don't audition, I don't submit myself for somebody who's 25 years old.
Right.
And somebody who's 25 shouldn't submit himself for somebody who's 50. You don't want to waste their time,
Right.
You go in, you do your thing. They now take, out of those 10 people, they might take 3 or 4 that they really like, and they're going to show it to the director, to the producer, okay? They obviously like you, okay?
Right.
Here's where it gets this is where the rejection part comes in. The director, he's like the main painter of this painting. He's got an idea what every character should look like to him. Now, he might like you, but for some reason he doesn't think you actually fit his idea of what that character should be. You don't get the callback. And so you have to be able, you come out and, I knocked it out, I knocked it out of the park,
Yeah.
I knew the lines, I didn't drop a line, I didn't get nervous, I was smooth, boom, boom, boom. A day, 2 days go by, a week go by, you're like, nothing. You have to be able to accept that. I had a problem with it myself.
Right, so that could be kind of tough, I
Yeah,
guess. You know,
yeah.
if you convinced that, oh man, I
Right.
hit the
And
ball
you know
out the
what?
park.
It's part of the. It's a game, and it's
Yeah.
part of the game. You know,
All right.
being able to accept that rejection, it really is.
You know what I thought about too? A lot of times, a lot of actors, like get like people who are, you know, like, oh my God, oh it's whoever, you know, or you know, kind of starstruck. Have you ever find yourself in that position, even like when you first started, and you know,
You know, one of the benefits of having a lot of life experience, like I
Yeah.
have, you know, not starting when I was 20 and starting later on in life, is that, you know, and I've met some of the people that I've met in my other pre-acting life, is that I don't get that starstruck.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? I can understand that with somebody else.
right,
You know, I'm a gentleman. I treat people fair. You know, I appreciate their talent. I appreciate their celebrity status. You know, but you know, I mean, well, I do get a little starstruck,
All right, yeah,
but not
that's
to the
what
point
I
where I'm,
said.
you know, not to the point where it's gonna, you know, cripple me.
Right, yeah, I know, no, it's not gonna.
Yeah.
But like, talk to me about that. Like,
What do you want to know?
who is it that you got starstruck with? Like, you see it, you're like, oh, whoa, you know, you had to kind of get yourself back in.
I was a little,
in
you
your
know,
shoes.
you know what? First time I saw Will Smith, I was a little starstruck.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I have to
okay,
admit that. You know, and then he just automatically, you know,
oh,
smoothed it right out, and
Okay.
we were just like, hey, in fact, we were shooting at a bowling alley up in the Bronx for my scenes, and we were there a few days, 4 or 5 days, you know, because it takes, you know, we'll get into this. You'll ask me more questions, but you know, he introduced me to his father. You know, I mean, he's like I said, every day at that location we were on in the Bronx around 3 o'clock, there was one or two grammar schools in the neighborhood. The kids would get out, like I say, 2:30, 2:45, you know, and we would probably, depending on the day, we might, you know, they might wrap the day, let's say at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and they knew, everybody in the neighborhood knew that we were
what
shooting,
was going on?
you know,
Oh,
Men
wow.
in Black there, and so we had a lot of police on premises, you know, keeping, you know, a certain amount of order, you know,
Right.
and as you came out of this bowling alley, I never forget this. Right, he would go to his trailer. He has this beautiful trailer.
Okay.
He'd go there and get out of his black suit,
Right.
get into sweats and stuff like that. And then he would come back out and he did this every day. Come back out and go walk across the street where they had all the police barricades, right? And start at one end of the street and walk down and shake hands and hold babies and sign autographs all the way down to the other end. I was so impressed with that.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Wow.
I was very impressed with that.
Wow, that's cool.
You know, and not just like, hey, quick. You're like, hey, how you doing? Talk, you know what I mean? Hug, you know, that.
Oh wow.
Every day. I there's not much that impresses me. That impressed me. I really have to say.
Wow. Wow.
Will, if you're out there and you're listening to this, I love you, brother.
We love you, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah.
You know what? Hey, Rob, if you could flash the number on the screen, we want y'all to know y'all could actually call in and ask him some questions. I know our time is kind of limited. It is going down. We only got a few minutes left. So if you guys have any questions, you could put it down in the comment section, or you could actually call in. You should see the number on the screen in a few. And I'm going to also give it to you guys. Oh, there we go. It's 718-313-0720. Number again is 718-313-0720. So yeah, give us a call. And you know, you could ask Anthony some questions, or if you want to put them down in the comment section, you could also do that also. All right.
Well, Heather says amazing content. Thanks for sharing insights into the movie industry.
Okay.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you for that. You know what? I wanted to know um about the commercial. How does that work? Cause I believe I was talking with you one time, and you was kind of explaining that to me. I thought that as a
Commercial?
yeah.
I have, to be honest with you, I've only done maybe 2 commercials. I'm not good commercial material. I'm not over. Commercials need people who are what they call very over the top. So you have to be very. You have to emote a lot. I've tried that. Like I said, I actually did one commercial, which, to tell you the truth, it was for some race car driver. It was a funny thing in Manhattan. I never saw it. It wasn't like, national commercial like the Geico or, the Geico lady or the Lizard or something, because that's really, if you can book one of those national deals, you're set.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of surprising to me. Like let's say the Geico lady.
Yeah.
You know what she make like.
I don't know what she makes, but
I mean, approximately, was she making like $500 each time she do a commercial? Or
no. She's when you book a national commercial.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's not 500 and it's not 500,000. Okay, it's millions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's the next project.
Multi-millions.
Wow. Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
Oh, wow.
Very serious.
Now you actually did some like, what's the difference between the 3? Because our time is running out. I really don't want to, because this is very important. You got something?
Yes, we have one question, which
Okay.
is one that I'm sure everybody's wondering. How was it working with Robert De Niro?
It was great. He's a professional, very nice man. By the end of my scene with him, we were laughing when they wrapped me for the movie. I was totally done. We hugged, and I would have to say that if I ran into him, in the street or in a restaurant someplace, he'd probably get up and go over to him, say hello. He would remember me and recognize me. It was good. It was very good. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So he's very humble. He's not one of those actors.
He's very humble. He's very quiet. On set, he was very quiet.
Oh, he's quiet.
Very quiet. Until it comes time to go to work, and then he's right there. Gets up, comes out, gets ready to go.
All right. The thing that I wanted to ask you was, what's the difference between the 3?
Well, actually, I heard that before, and it's really the difference between the 2. One is stage, theater, and then there's, film and TV are basically, in a lot of ways, the same. They have some differences, but the main difference, it's really, film is film, and even if it's TV, it's still film in a way, unless it's live TV like what we're doing right now. Okay?
Right.
And then there's theater, stage, which is live, which is, you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and then the show opens and you walk out on stage and.
Right. Now, is it more like more over the top, or like?
Well, it has to be. It has to be because there's no editing. Okay. There's no you really. I mean, the Broadway stages are sound amplified.
Okay.
I haven't not had that opportunity yet to be on a Broadway stage, but I've done off Broadway.
Yeah. I think
so you
I
have to
checked
be
you
able to
out.
project your voice to the back of the theater.
Right.
So you have to be able to really take it from your diaphragm and bring it out. And you get to use your body a lot too.
To emphasize, I guess.
Emphasize,
it's more emphasis.
and also to turn this. So when you're doing film, everything is about the camera, where the camera's at, where it's been set. Okay,
Right.
so you don't, they'll measure it out. They'll put marks down on the floor, whether you don't see them, pieces of tape. Okay, you come this far, stay here, because you never want to be out of focus.
Right.
Okay.
So you're kind of, tied into where you have to be.
Okay.
You want to be center frame, All of a sudden, you know, you decide to go to the left like this. You know what I mean? Like, where did he go? Cut.
Yeah.
Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
so
on,
you can't
on stage,
freestyle
you get
that.
on stage you get to move around a little bit more. You know, I mean, you know, not much more, but you have a lot more freedom to use your body to, and you know, using your body on stage is a certain amount of synergy that you get from the audience that you also pass back to them. Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah.
Really, oh yeah.
So you actually feel that.
You can
once
feel
you,
that.
Once
You can feel that. You know, especially if there's a line that that you think is going to get a laugh and you don't get the laugh. You know, you're like, oh, okay. In your mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
While you're still in character, you know? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So in your mind, you know, the line they're supposed to laugh, they don't laugh. Do you feel like you take that to heart? Or?
Well, no, you kind of you kind of taper the balance of the performance, especially if you're doing acts. So there's so you got like a break in between, or let's say you come off stage and there's another scene going, so you're like, oh wow, they're not, you know, it's different tonight, and you just, when you come back out, you're just tapering it a different way. If we have time, I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Well, you probably got to do it now because we tight on the time.
Oh, we tight on the time.
Yeah,
so I'm doing a parody on The Godfather. It was a great play called Clemenza and Tessio Are Dead. Okay, and it was a parody. Okay, so just two of us on stage. I'm playing Sal Tessio, the guy who, you know, sets up Michael at the end, and then there's Pete Clemenza, the heavyset guy. Now in the movie, it's Tessio that sets it up. The play, because it was a parody, it's Clemenza who sets up Tessio to set up The Godfather. So we're going back and forth, right? So there's this one scene where we're talking and we're in the mattresses, you know. We got blankets up and we're talking, and Clemenza is telling me this story about, you know, we got to watch out for Sonny. He's crazy. You know, we got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what do you want us to do? You know what I mean? He's the boss's son, you know. So he gets into this whole thing. He's talking about Macbeth, this play, about how the nephew, the uncle starts to screw around with the nephew's mother because the king is dead. You know, and I'm like, you know, what's this all about? Shake who? So some nights, you know, there was a line in there, and he's like, you know, and Clemenza's screaming at me, you know, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. If the old man dies, I'm going nowhere near the old lady. I'm telling you that right now. Now some nights that would bring the audience down.
Yeah.
I mean, rip roaring. And other nights you could hear a pin drop.
Wow.
You could hear a pin drop.
Does that change your whole the way you proceed, or
because you know, like there was a couple other comedic lines in it that you just kind of like you know, you
throw
didn't
it back on.
You didn't, yeah. So if you got a big laugh, you know, you tried the next comedic line, you would just even put more into it. You know?
Okay.
And then now, you know, you got a serious audience, because we had two types of audiences there. Both of them were Godfather fanatics, right? But some of them liked to laugh, and some of them just were so into it they didn't want to miss a thing.
Okay, so they laugh, they might miss a word or so.
Exactly.
All right, so we got a comment.
Yeah, we have two questions. Jimmy wants to know, do you keep in touch with the people you work with? And I'm going to add, and if you do, how often? And then, hey, Romario wants to know, how do you go about capturing the attention of your audience?
Well, sometimes you tend to keep in touch with some of the people you work with, specifically like right after you work with them. Is kind of like, you know, it's kind of, but then it kind of like, you know, it sort of drops off because who's working here or who's going here, and so it's, you know, it just, you still know each other, you know, and they'll call you, you know what I mean, if you post that you've just been on something or they see you in something, they'll all get a hold of you and, you know, congratulate you. But it's maybe not as tight.
Right. Okay. All right. All right. So we got about 5 minutes. So for the 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes out of that, if you want to kind of sum it up on, because really, we want to put the word out there to where people know behind the scenes of acting, and we want them to be able to know what to expect and how to approach becoming a known actor.
Okay. Well, like, you have to have a commitment to the craft.
Commitment.
Okay? Your commitment to the craft. Without that, it's just, you're just wasting your time.
So when you say commitment, I'm sorry to cut you off. Commitment, you mean just
commitment to putting in the time, being available for auditions, taking classes, going to seminars, moving in. If this is not your world, to move into this world and develop relationships within this world, because an important thing in this business is networking, and you've probably seen it. There are certain people that work with certain other people, like Adam Sandler has his crew and Ben Stiller has his crew of people that they're always around them.
Right.
Trust, there are a lot of people in this business, both from the acting, producing, directing style, but there's only it's going to sound, there's a lot of people in it, but there's only a few of us in it. And trust, for a director, trusting, feeling, that they can trust somebody, meaning, that he's gonna be important. He's gonna, he's gonna be there. He's gonna show up. He's gonna be prepared.
Okay. Okay. Totally understood.
Right. They develop a network, and if you, excuse me, if you can get into one of these networks, and develop that, you can work.
Okay.
You can work.
All right. So that's a beautiful thing. That's really good to know. I think it's important because I really want for a lot of the youngsters, not just the youngsters, because you got into the game while you were.
Yeah, well, the youngsters, like the younger actors should consider, singers. If you can sing, that's a talent to bring to the thing. If you can dance, it's a talent you can bring to the, to it. These are all additional. You were talking at the beginning of the show. You're talking about rappers and artists, and
right.
I think Will Smith started out as an early rapper before what was the Bel Air
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince.
Yeah. You're right. He did rap. Yeah, he was an artist.
And if you're a comic, if you can do if you're a comic and do stand up is very tough. Stand-ups make, Eddie Murphy came from a stand-up background.
Yeah.
Stand-ups make very good actors. Not all of them, but a lot of them do.
Okay.
Because of their ability to improv it and just
keep it going.
Jim Carrey, Eddie Murphy, Bill Murray, all of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. We're really running out of time, and man, you're gonna have to come back one of these days again.
I look forward to it.
Yeah,
definitely. I look forward to it. This has been a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming.
I appreciate you asking me on. I've really enjoyed my time here.
So, what we'd like to kind of close out on is really, I guess, as far as, because I'm really big at getting your mental right, and I feel that if your mental is right, you could do pretty much anything.
Exactly. Your mind has to be in the right place. But life goes on, and there's some curveballs that life throws you. From a financial point of view. I mean, like I said, a lot of young actors come to New York. They got to pay rent. They're living, in places where they got a couch someplace. They're sharing something. Trying to make a few dollars and trying to audition and trying to take classes. It's so it makes it even harder to keep the mindset.
Right. So here it is. We only got a few more seconds. So that's the ending note. Your mindset. You got to try to keep that mindset regardless
no matter what.
Of how whatever curveball
exactly
comes your way. So keep your mental strong. Be strong. And listen, we'll be back next Saturday, right?
That's right.
All right. Mr. Anthony, let the crowd know. Tell them goodbye.
Goodbye. It's been a pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
Awesome.